Shalom, family. It's wonderful to be back with you guys with another message. On today's message, I want to talk about idol worship. This is an important message, so we want to get right into it. If you call yourself a follower of the Most High Yahuah, He commands that you do not idol worship of any sort, because that's what got the children of Israel in trouble in the first place. Even though the Most High had freed the children from bondage, they still desired to make many gods. We can take account of that in Exodus 32 and verse 1. And I'll read that. Exodus 32 and 1. When the people saw Moshe delayed coming down from the mountain, the people gathered together around Aaron and said to him, "Come, make us a god who will go before us. As for this fellow Moshe, who brought us up out of Egypt, we do not know what has become of him." Now, that is the root of God worship, is when men think that Yahweh is not at hand unless they can see him in some physical appearance. Now, the children of Israel had no problem deferring to another god so quickly when they thought that Moses possibly was not returning because he took so long to come down from the mountain. So they were really quick to ask Aaron to make them that golden calf. The very thing that Yahuah told the children of Israel not to do when he made the commandments, when he told Moses in Exodus 20 and verse 3, yes, that was a command. And also in Exodus 23 and 24, he told them not to do so. And I'm going to read that really quick. Exodus 23, verse 24. "You shall not bow down to their gods, nor serve them, nor do after their works, but you shall utterly overthrow them and completely break down their sacred pillars." So Yahuah, rather for you to destroy the idols than to worship them, which he commanded Moses to do once he came down and saw that the children of Israel was doing such things. The Most High commanded Moses to destroy the golden calf and all the idols that the children had made, because it made him very upset that they did so. Now, we should define idolatry. And idolatry typically refers to worshiping idols, images, or other substitutes for the one and true living Yahuah. The most common forms of idolatry are the worship of trinkets, statues, or images of gods. Also the worship of trees, rivers, hills, stones, etc. for the magical or spiritual powers they behold. So if you believe that These things can give you powers. You're putting all your mind, body, and soul into these things. That is worshiping an idol. We call it fetishism. And also the worship of nature, such as the sun, moon, and stars as supreme powers of nature. And another way is the worship of heroes or deceased ancestors. If you're trying to always get answers or summon up the dead, that is witchcraft and a form of idolatry. And to me, the biggest form today in this era is the worship of celebrities such as actors, musicians, sports stars in any form, whether it's track, football, basketball, ballet, whatever you can think of. Because I notice a lot of people hold certain people to a high statue more than anything. They should be giving that kind of love to the Most High, the Creator. Now, all the nations surrounding ancient Israel were idolaters. Although their idolatry assumed different forms, the early Semites of Mesopotamia worshipped mountains, springs, trees, and blocks of stone, in which the deity was supposed to be in some sense incarnate, such as when the children of Israel was in captivity in the book of Judges 6, which we'll touch on soon. They were worshiping Baal. So the religion of the Egyptians centered mostly about the veneration of the sun and of the Nile as sources of life. They also had a number of sacred animals like the bull, cow, cat, baboon, crocodile. Some of the deities had human bodies and animal heads. Among the Canaanites' religion took on a very barbarous character. The chief gods were personifications of life and fertility. The gods had no moral character whatsoever, and worship of them carried with demoralizing practices, including child sacrifice, prostitution, and snake worship. The human and animal deities were worshipped. The Israelites, on succeeding to the land that they were given by the Most High, they were commanded to destroy these idols. Because now in Judges 6, it is clear that the sins was as usual idolatry with the Canaanite gods. So they were given into the hands of the Midianites for 7 years. The Midian was so oppressive, the Israelites had to make their homes in dens, caves, and strongholds in mountains for themselves. And that was all because they did not listen to the Most High and decided to worship idols. Now, I want to get into an account of idol worship in the Bible. what the Most High says about it. It comes from Leviticus 19, chapter 19, verse 4. Do not turn to gods, nor make for yourselves molten images. I am Yahweh, your Father. And the Most High commands you not to worship idols. Once again, that is a no-no, because you're giving all of your energy to that specific thing. From the one, only true and living Elohim, to them that are not gods, as the word used signifies who are nothing. For as the apostle says, an idol is nothing in the world, is of no worth and value, of no consequence, and importance of no avail, and usefulness to its devotees. Wherefore, to turn from the true Elohim to such as these is the greatest stupidity as well as wickedness. Or look not at them for help. You should not look at these so-called idols for help or assistance, because they are not able to give it. And to look at them so as to view their attentively and consider their likeness, as they have such a power. As the Hebrews say, is forbidden. Yah forbids that such thing. And even in the heart and mind, we can observe to have respect unto them, and it was not right. Or in the thoughts of Gideon, nor makes to yourselves molten images. You were not to make molten images of silver, gold, brass, melted, and make anything out of it. And that's what the children of Israel did with the golden calf. These laws have a respect unto the first and second commandments, which is from Exodus 20:3 and 20:4, when the Lord, the Most High Yah, said, do not do such things. Because he is our Elohim Yahweh, who only is to be worshipped, and who has forbid the making and worshiping of any image, molten, graven, and who will therefore resent adultery of every sort and punish for it. So that's why we are being punished, because we worship so many idols. Acts 15:20. But rather, write to them that they abstain from defilements, who such as God worship, for all sexual impurity, from that which has been cooked with blood still in it, and from bloodshed by violence. Now I want to read some verses that are parallel here to Acts 15:20. So we go up a verse in Acts 15:19, and it reads, wherefore my sentence is that we trouble not them which from among other nations are turned to Elohim. So now, for the other nations that are turning to the Most High, we are to let them know of the laws and the statutes that they should not be idol worshiping. So if we read 20, it reads, "But that he write unto them, that they abstain from pollution of idols, and from fornication, and from things strangled, and from blood." Verse 24, "For as much as we have heard that certain which went out from us have troubled you with words, subverting your souls, saying, Ye must be circumcised and guard the law, to whom we gave no such commandment." Because the law was given to Moses in the wilderness after the exodus of Mizraim, which is Egypt. Verse 29, "That ye abstain from meats offered to idols, and from blood, and from things strangled, and from fornication, from which if ye keep yourself, ye shall do well. Fare ye well." So, anyone who has their heart or mind set on serving Yahuah, they are to withstand from idols in any form, molten or fleshly idols. 1 John 5:21, "Little children, keep yourselves from the defilement of gods." Hallelujah. Now, since all the captivities, they have always been trying to push false deities and make the children that serve the Most High forget about Him, and push and make false gods among us. So I want to go to the book of Maccabees, 2nd Maccabees, chapter 6, and I'm going to read chapters 1 through 6. No, I'm sorry, read verses 1 through 6 in 2nd Maccabees, chapter 6, verses 1 through 6. And it reads, "Not long after, this king sent an old man of Athens to compel the Yahudim to depart from the Torah of their fathers, and not to live after the Torah of Elohim, and to pollute also the temple in Jerusalem, and to call it the temple of Jupiter, Olympus, and that in Gerizim of Jupiter, the defender of strangers, as they did desire that dwelt in the place." Verse 3, "The coming in of the mischief was sore and grievous to the people." Verse 4, "For the temple was filled with riot and reveling by the other nations, who dallied with harlots, and had to do with women within the circuit of the holy places, and besides that, brought in things that were against the Torah." Verse 5, "The altar also was filled with profane things, which the Torah forbids." Verse 6, "Neither was it lawful for a man to guard days of Sabbath or ancient feasts, or to profess himself at all to be Yahuah. So there was times when Israel was captive during the time of Grecians, and even times after that where they tried to suppress the Yahuah and make them forget about their Most High Yahweh. They wanted the Yahuah to pollute the temple of Yah and call it the temple of Jupiter in Olympus, and it was the Gentiles that caused wickedness into the temple. They had harlots, which are prostitutes. They didn't want them keeping the Sabbath, and the old man of Athens wanted to make Israel forget who they were completely. But there were some who stayed strong in faith and carried the traditions throughout time and passed it down throughout generations. Because as scripture throughout reads, Yahweh is a jealous El. And he does not want us doing things that goes against his way. I'm going to go through a few more verses here. First Corinthians 10, chapter 10. Okay, we're going to go to First Corinthians chapter 10, verses 20 through 22. First Corinthians 10, verses 20 through 22. But I say that the things which the other nations sacrifice, they sacrifice to devils, and not to Elohim. And I would not that ye should have fellowship with devils. Ye cannot drink the cup of Yah and the cup of devils. Ye cannot be partakers of Yahuwah's table and of the table of devils. Do we provoke Yahuwah to jealousy? Are we stronger than he? So you cannot serve two. You can only have one or the other. Either you're going to serve the true and living Yahuwah and his ways, or you're going to choose to worship the false idols of the world, which the Most High forbids. And I like to read that in Leviticus 17 and 7. And they shall no more offer their sacrifices unto devils, after whom they have gone a-whoring. This shall be a statute forever unto them throughout their generations. And you shall say unto them, whatsoever man there be of the house of Israel, or of the strangers which sojourn among you, that offers an ascending smoke offering or sacrifice. worship idols, Israel, and it doesn't matter if you see them as a Gentile. Once they give themselves to the Most High Yah, they are considered Israel and not supposed to worship idols. Shalom, peace and blessings. Until next time, I love you guys. Stay vigilant and stay guarded.